Hi, my name is Jamie Kubala, and welcome to The Funny Thing About Heart Surgery, which is about heart surgery. I'm putting the shirt here to show you the scar. I had an open heart surgery in 2006. I have an 11-inch scar here to prove it. At least something on my body is 11 inches long. So I was having chest pains. Actually, I was hanging up posters for a dance that I was playing. I was on Elmwood Avenue on a cold day. Felt a little bit of chest pain. Not a good sign. So they said, well, you're having chest pain. We've got to check this out. And the test that they give you is called an EKG. Now, you've seen this on television. You've got the screen and the little thing beeping for the heartbeat. A normal EKG is a little triangle, big triangle, little triangle, big triangle, little triangle, repeat. My EKG went like this: little triangle, big triangle, start of a little triangle, and then the last line goes down like this. And the nurse gives me the printout and says, take a look right here. See that line right there? You were reporting to Buffalo General Hospital at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning. We have to give more tests. Now, the advanced test for heart disease is called a stress test. They put you on a treadmill, run you radioactive dye in you, and they check to see what's going on. And I don't like the sound of this, a stress test. Could you think of a worse name for a medical test? I don't want to be stressed. I have heart disease. I'm in pain. I might need surgery. I don't want a stress test. Could I have a relaxing test? Do you have any relaxing tests for me? So I go and take the stress test. They look at it and they say, okay, you're a candidate for heart surgery. Let's go and meet the surgeon. Now, my surgeon is literally a funny looking guy, and I'm not kidding about this. My surgeon looks like Fred Flintstone. He really looks like Fred Flintstone. I talk with his secretary and I say, hey, did anybody ever tell you that the surgeon looks like Fred Flintstone? Yeah, all the time. So I'm talking with Fred about the surgery. I'm wondering, does he operate with a club? You know, what type of car does he drive? So what Fred tells me is, I need triple bypass. And what bypass is, with this heart disease, is some clogged up arteries. And let's say there's a little clogged spot right in there. What they do is take a vein out of your leg, and then they do a little jump in your heart here. Let me give me a second here to form this to give you the idea. So it literally bypasses the part that is damaged. So you get this jump in your heart, and it looks like this. Okay, so that's a bypass. Quite miraculous surgery. I have 3 of these bypasses, 2 on the front of the heart, 1 on the back of the heart. Don't ask me how the hell they were able to get to the back of my heart. You can't turn it around, you can't lift it up, it's attached with tubes. Somehow, miraculously, they got to the back of my heart. So, the doctor says, you know, when we have this surgery, we don't even have to stop your heart. We slow your heart way down, and then we sew between the beats. Like, how the fuck do they do that? You gotta be kidding me. So they give you these brochures which are supposed to, you know, let you know and make you confident about the surgery. But basically, I mean, they show the actual, you know, how they're gonna do this, which they have to do 6 times for the 3 times 2, and that's the brochure they give you. And then also the other thing they give you, which they really, really shouldn't. I don't know, whoever designed this, is this a good thing to put in a medical brochure on page 1? Is that really something that you want to show your patient? A middle-aged person losing their hair with chest pain, which I was. But so I alert the family. They start saying the prayers. They start lighting the candles. I'm going to have open heart surgery. About the only good thing about it, paid time off from work. I got about 6 months off. Had a very difficult recovery. Okay, so I thought I was going to inherit a lot of money from my grandfather or from my father. I inherited heart disease. Okay, besides eye color too from my dad, heart disease. For a while before my surgery, I carried nitroglycerin with me for chest pain. When you have chest pains, putting nitroglycerin tablet underneath your tongue dilates the blood vessels in your heart, which helps alleviate chest pain. It worked. I did some research on it. Dynamite was invented because nitroglycerin was considered too dangerous. That's true. The nitroglycerin factories used to blow up. So they thought, let's do something safer. Dynamite. Now they want to put nitroglycerin underneath my tongue. It's not very reassuring. Remember, take as directed. We don't want you to blow up. As it turns out, they've been using nitro for about 100 years underneath the tongue at the proper dose. But I figured they had to test this nitro out on somebody before they allowed, to be able to use it in a hospital. So imagine the testing went something like this. Hey Lenny, you got chest pain? Yeah, just put this underneath your tongue and let's see what happens. Oh, it's okay. No, you won't explode, I think. That's right, just put it underneath your tongue. I'll wait in the next room. Good luck. So, time for the operation. Now remember, my surgeon looked like Fred Flintstone. You know who Fred Flintstone is, right? Yeah. Okay, cool. He wore orange scrubs with an animal print off the shoulder. Those are hard to find. The operation went as expected, except when the doctor kept yelling, "Yubba dubba doo" during the surgery. The surgeon's assistant looked like Barney Rubble, and a couple of the nurses looked like Wilma and Betty. Actually, the assistant's name was Dr. Von Fricken. So someone said, oh, you got this frickin' guy assistant on your surgery. Okay. When I met the surgical team, I asked if they could play music during my operation, and I mentioned I was a fan of classic rock. I love the Grateful Dead, but I think it would have been unlucky to request a song by The Dead during major heart surgery. I didn't want to hear any sad songs with lyrics about broken hearts. They put on the double album, The Beatles' 1962 to 66 Greatest Hits, which incidentally was the first Beatle album I owned. I was pumped up before my surgery because they were playing Beatles music, and that was a good omen because I'm listening to Ringo Starr during surgery. He's the best known drummer in the world and was famous for keeping a steady beat. And I'm a drummer having heart surgery to help ensure a steady beat. I found out the surgeon was a Ringo fan, and we both had seen Ringo's last Western New York show about a year and a half before at Darien Lake. I saw Ringo again after my surgery and started to cry when he sang the line from Yellow Submarine, "As we live a life of ease, every one of us has all we need," because it reminded me I had survived heart surgery with a little bit of help from my friend Ringo Starr. Okay, recovering. They take you up to ICU after the surgery, and I'm sitting up in the ICU bed. The anesthesia wears off, and the first thing I say is, "Help!" because I'm in an incredible amount of pain. Help, by the way, is one of the songs on that Beatles album. It's the first song on side 2. They actually played the song Help during the surgery. So, I cough. And after the surgery, it's very painful. You essentially have a broken bone here. Coughing is incredibly painful. I cough. Nurse rushes over. This is at night. She says, "Do you want something for pain? Do you want something for sleep?" I say, "Give me something for pain." And thus was the start of my short journey with opiates. I was not addicted to them, but that's what they gave me for pain. And the opiates were okay, except that I thought if I fell asleep, I was going to die. And I thought that the nurse was trying to overdose me. Now, are any of you familiar with the book Naked Lunch and William Burroughs? Okay, Naked Lunch, William Burroughs. He talks about taking a hit of a fix of heroin and how a junkie will sit there in a chair and just stare at the toe of their shoe for hours. While I was on this opiate, I found myself sitting in a chair, my legs crossed, staring at my toe, and I'm thinking, this is a heroin side effect. Now, back then, they did not have medical cannabis, which I wish they would have had, because if they would have said, would you like a heroin derivative, opium from poppies, or would you like, a joint and listen to some Bob Marley, listen to some Pink Floyd, and think about the side effects from cannabis. You get the munchies, you giggle. If you're local, you'll get this joke. You'll crave Mighty Taco.
Yes.
Okay, best local people have been going there 2 a.m. with the giggles since the 1970s. So, it's a very tough surgery. A friend of mine got a punctured lung during the surgery. Another friend of mine was sitting up in bed, fell over, hit his head on the floor and was bleeding. They actually didn't have it too bad. My dad had the same surgery, triple bypass, Buffalo General, ICU bed number 5. He had some difficulties. His heart stopped before the surgery, and they put the paddles on him. Have you seen that on TV, right? They bring him back to life. Way to go, Dad. They're doing the operation, his heart stops again. They put the paddle on the heart muscle itself. Bring him back to life. Round 2, yay, Dad. His heart stops again after surgery. They paddle him for the 3rd time. He had burn marks on his chest, but yes, he came back, my hero, my father, 3 times back from the dead after heart surgery. But things got even nastier later on, but I'll get to that. So if they're going to work and operate on your chest, you are going to get your ass kicked. Now, I leave the hospital, I'm doing much better, and they give you a blessing. There's a priest that shows up. So,
At Buffalo General?
this is Buffalo General,
Oh, wow.
2006. The blessing of the sick. First, the priest says, I absolve you of all your sins. Not that you have any, but if you do, you're off the hook. If I knew beforehand I was going to be absolved of all my sins, I would have taken advantage of it and committed more of them. The priest who administered the sacrament of the blessing of the sick to me kept coughing during the blessing. He was coughing so badly, I was wondering if his blessing of me would even count. Is the priest going to keel over? If I catch what he has, am I going to keel over? Was it a blessing that would end up putting me back in the hospital? The priest also had one of the largest and worst toupees I had ever seen. His toupee was so bad, I was wondering if that was going to affect the blessing too. If the bishop would have seen him, he would have thrown him out of the clergy. If the pope would have seen that toupee, he would have excommunicated him. Dear Bishop of Buffalo, I pray, couldn't you have sent me a priest that doesn't cough and look like he's got a small dead animal on his head? I mean, I'm trying to get well. The doctor told me I was healthy enough to leave the hospital and go and enjoy the comforts of my own home sweet home. So my first evening at home, I went to sit down and watch Seinfeld, laugh, loosen up, relax. Until I heard my girlfriend scream, loud scream. Okay. There was a big bat in the living room. What was the bat doing in our living room? He was watching Seinfeld. He really liked Kramer's hairstyle and wanted to fly into it because he thought it would make a great condo. Now, I'm supposed to be relaxing. There's nothing like having a large flying rodent with sharp teeth in your living room to help you relax.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going okay with the recovery for a few days. And you know, you're getting the heartbeat, good stuff. And then one evening, I'm near my bedroom, and all of a sudden my heart starts going. It was like a drummer playing the rock solo at a Rich Stadium concert. And I fall to the floor and collapse. My girlfriend says, okay, just take it easy, come on to bed, just rest, maybe it'll go away. I try to sleep, 15 minutes later I wake up. Now she had injured her back and she had taken sleeping pills or something to rest. And I said, look honey, if you need to rest here, understand, I'm going downstairs, I'm calling an ambulance, meet me downstairs if you want, but here I go. So when I went downstairs, I had a mattress on the floor near my mantle and near my fireplace. So I was able to rest on either first or second floor. And I'm lying down on the mattress, and the EMTs come in, and a nice woman EMT comes in, and she puts an IV in my arm here, and she puts an oxygen mask on me. And then she stands up and she whacks her head on the mantle and starts bleeding. And I'm looking at this, hoping I don't get the blood in me, and I say, you know, I've got some dish rags in the kitchen. There's some ice packs if you need it. So here I am with AFib, irregular heartbeat, and IV, oxygen, and I'm trying to help the EMT.
That's funny.
So the EMT was injured so badly they had to call a second ambulance.
Oh my gosh.
At this point, my girlfriend comes down the stairs and says, "What's going on here? We have 2 ambulances in the driveway. What are the neighbors going to think?" They're going to think we're having a hell of a party. So they take me there, they stabilize me, and I can go for a while, and I don't have AFib for a while. I go back to work, years and years go by, and then the AFib comes back. It's an irregular heartbeat. And what they don't want to tell you, because they don't want to scare you, is if you have AFib, if it only doubled my chance of a stroke, it wouldn't be that bad. You get 5 times the chance of having a stroke if you have an irregular heartbeat. But my cardiologist said, look, outside of that, you're healthy. If you're able to tolerate it, you can live with this. There's people that live with AFib all the time. It just depends on you. After 3 years, I say that's enough. Some people, the AFib, it feels like butterfly. A nice little butterfly in the chest. Some people, it's like a flopping fish. For me, at the very worst, can you imagine a squirrel scurrying around in your upper rib cage? Now, it's not painful, but it's just really, really quite odd. And when I called an ambulance for that, your heart naturally twists just a little bit when it beats. But my heart was going, it was like chubby check. My heart was going like this, and I'm like, I can call my sister, she'll be here in 15 minutes. The ambulance will be here in about 4 minutes. I'll call the ambulance. And I also had another surgery for the heart. Now here's the thing with the AFib. There are signals electrical signals, your heart has electrical signals that tell this chamber to squeeze the blood in and this chamber to squeeze the blood out. The signals are a little bit mixed up and they're very erratic and irregular. So the doctor, a new doctor I have, says, we can fix this. We have found that if a heart is scarified, if there's a scar on the heart, it prevents the electrical signals from jumping to the wrong place. So in order to cure you, we are going to deliberately scarify your heart. And I'm thinking to myself, is this guy a surgeon or a witch doctor? I don't know about this, scarify the heart. But honest to God, this works. So I get the surgery. It was scheduled, and it was canceled because of COVID. Thanks, COVID, you screwed up my schedule again. I get psyched up for surgery. Then I have to wait. I get the surgery, and about 2 weeks later, all the surgeries shut down again, all the elective surgeries. So I have been virtually AFib-free. The last AFib I had was the day after Thanksgiving, and I had maybe too much turkey and cranberry sauce. I was with my girlfriend and her daughter, and I'm starting to get the AFib again. And where it's a holiday, it's a family gathering, and I might need another fucking surgery, because that's the way you fix it, is to have a second, third surgery, or a third. So I turned to my girlfriend, I started just to laugh. She said, honey, what's so funny? I said, I have AFib again. Will you just start laughing with me? Okay, can everybody laugh? Can everybody do a fake laugh? Okay, now as it turns out, my girlfriend and her daughter were terrible at fake laughing. And I'm trying, come on, work with me here. I might have to have surgery, you start laughing. And my girlfriend says, tickle my daughter underneath the armpit, and that could get her to laugh. So there I'm standing in the living room, holding up her arm, tickling her armpit. It's not working. And I'm still having the AFib. The last bit of AFib was that morning, next morning. So essentially, I've been AFib free since the day after Thanksgiving, 2020. Which leads me to another song from that Beatles album, Greatest Hits, Volume 1, the song I Feel Fine. I exercise 7 days a week. Today's Wednesday. I went swimming for 40 minutes today. I had an EKG to check the electrical signals. I'll be finding out about the results of that soon. So, now, remember I said my dad was having some difficulty. After his heart had stopped 3 times and they brought him back, things got bad because he had a near-death experience. He was on a ventilator, and the ventilator dislodged, and he was not getting oxygen. And he started to die. And I said, Dad, what was near death like? And he said, son, death is like a donut. I said, death is like a donut? He says, yeah, death is like a donut. You're lying in bed and everything starts getting smaller like this. And it's like the whole of a donut, and all you can see is the whole of a donut. And I said, well, what's around the edge of the donut? Is it black? Is it dark? He says, no. It's bright white around the edges. And things just keep getting smaller and smaller. Were you in pain? No. Were you frightened? No. Well, what happened after that? Well, they put the breathing apparatus right, and then the hole in the donut opens up. And then my father came back.
Wow.
For the fourth time. Hey, go Dad. And because I've had the same surgery, same hospital, same ICU bed number 5, and I'm genetically the closest human being on earth to my father, I figured that my last moments might be the same thing. I hope. No pain, no suffering, no fear. So I hope that when your death comes, your death too is like a donut with a cup of Tim Hortons coffee. Thank you. I have a book from the support group Mended Hearts, which was very good. I talked with other people who had worse situations than me. We really gave a lot of support to each other. I have a sketchbook. I'm actually a retired art teacher. The sketches I made, that was my art therapy, which really helped me with my recovery. I also have a tip jar for my continued medical copays, including the $40 copay from the EKG today. I also have a Venmo address on the tip jar, and there's one on the table and another tip jar set up inside a drum. And I would appreciate that because they're going to send me a $40 bill for my EKG. Thanks.
You're going to answer any questions?
Yeah, do you have any questions or comments?
I mean, is your dad still alive?
My dad lived for 30 years.
Okay.
After that, he passed away from Alzheimer's at the age of 85.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. Yes.
Well, 2 questions. The first is like about so was your insurance? You were under insurance at the time that like you had
the surgeries. I am grateful. I had really good insurance. I was a teacher. They believe in paying teachers decently and giving us good benefits. Ken Martano School District, and the surgery was virtually all covered. But the meds for the rest of my life, those are, and tests, and hopefully no more surgeries. Yeah.
I should be a teacher.
I am a teacher. I will stipulate not every place.
Not every job has good benefits in a good
Yeah.
situation like that. Pam and I have had many discussions.
Yeah.
I work for a
teach,
public
not
school
so much.
district, local public school district.
Right. The other one is I'm not familiar with this format. So is it supposed to be like sharing your story? I mean, like what's the purpose of the whole?
It's a theatrical performance, and it's comedic / dramatic. So it's not exactly stand up. That's how I wanted to, because there really was funny stuff along the way, and that kept me laughing. But it's really fucking serious too. In my support group, I called 16 people, and I kept careful track of the phone calls. 2 out of the 16 people had died.
Oh, wow.
So 1 out of every 8 people who had heart surgery did not live. Yeah, it's nasty stuff. And I'm very proud to be alive, and I am living life to my fullest. This is my downtown theater debut. I used to work at Stereo, thank you. I used to work at Studio Arena in the early 80s as a graphic designer.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, one more question.
Yeah.
You said that you work out 40 minutes a day. Is that like preventive, or like what does that do?
I swim every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 8 to 8:45, and I will do that for the rest of my life. You have to exercise, yes.
And they told you to do 40 minutes specifically.
I do 45 because they closed the pool because of COVID. I would swim for an hour if I could. And then I go on the treadmill and I walk a lot too. You can't just sit there, you'll die. You have to. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. So, once again, thank you. Remember the tip jar. If you think of any other comments or questions, let me know.